We are hosting this third and last public forum for Grain School online out of the Hibbell Sports Medicine and Performance Center at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, UCCS. And it is sunny and warm outside and spring is coming. And that seems like a great segue into our start here of this forum. Should I just get going? Because it's 10 o'clock and I know we always have a pretty rapid fire during these 4 hours. So I think I'm just gonna get going as people are joining. And there is just a wonderful moment here for us to think about spring and the post-pandemic period, and a period that's also sort of hard in our hearts. I think it's a period of continued violence and a period also of change and transformation. And I want to set the stage for that a little bit as we're thinking about relationship. But before we do that, I'm going to share my screen. And as always, we want to start out with honoring those who were here before us and are still here with us, and on whose land we are. And rather than reading this out today, I would like everyone to read it themselves and just take your time reading it and think about it. This is just applicable to Colorado Springs, but we are here from various places in the world, and it applies to everyone. And it just sets the stage for how we transform these relationships, these kinds of relationships. There's very few plants, I think, that have such a strength to communicate the meaning of relationship and of reciprocity in relationships and interdependence than corn. And so I have a photo here of last year's grain or corn trials just being watered in, and it is springtime, and it is time to put some seeds down. And it's also the time where we're coming out of a very difficult 1.5 years almost, and we have a chance to transform and change. And I'm extremely grateful for this third and last public forum, and having the theme as community and how grain, including corn, can build community. And so as we're looking at this in a three-sister, four-sister, or milpa perspective, corn provides a relationship within the soil, especially when it's paired with beans and squash, which are not right here in this field, but in the next field, and other plants that work together to build soil and the microorganisms that are alive in the soil. It is also springtime. This is the time when farmers open the head gate, right? And the water rushes through. And once the water hits this dried out soil from the winter, it just re-energizes everything. And it's a chance for us, I think, to go deeply into this third month of Grain School and think about the actionable pieces that we want to focus on for our 2021, not just leaving 2020 behind, but taking what we saw, what we felt, and really making a change. And particularly the grain chain is a powerful chain and a powerful web to show us how critical relationships are in this change. But it takes each one of us to want to transform and do things differently. And so this public forum is all in the light of this. And we have a wonderful team that will launch this today. 2 women who will talk about relationships in the grain chain and how it relates to the soil and the water and the ecosphere, the plants and the humans and the animals all working together. So let's keep that in front of us and let's make change together as we're launching into springtime of 2021. We're coming to a close here. This is our last public forum of Grain School Online and our last course. You can still sign up. If you're interested to sign up, go to coloradograinchain.com. We're focusing a lot on the community in this course and really difficult topics too, that we don't want to hesitate to go into. It's not easy to deal with pain in the heart and violence as we've experienced it, but it is even more difficult to go into these topics and work on them. But the beauty of it is collaboration. And in the end, we come out as in celebration, I think. Yesterday, I went up to Boulder and it just had a feeling of this community. Many of our Boulder collaborators donated flowers for Grain School number 3. So I wanted to acknowledge freshly milled Michelle Moffett, who put together nice bags for UCCS students to bake and create. Thank you very much, Michelle, for that donation. Thank you very much, Moxie Bread and Andy Clark for his donation, and Joan for milling all of the fresh grains that the entire Grain School number 3 can enjoy. And thank you very much, Dry Storage, for your donation, and Colton yesterday giving me a nice tour of the mill, of the new mill of Dry Storage. So it's just beautiful to see how things come together and how everybody is generous here in this time in the cause of, baking and cooking together. I also want to acknowledge Rocky Mountain Farmers Union and Whole Foods Market for their sponsorship. Without them, we would have not been able to create such a program with so many experts. Again, today, with so many of you coming together, sharing in your passion and sharing in your business ideas, and then obviously bringing it together in collaboration. And then finally, we have Grain School in the Field coming, so we're not diverting into an online only platform in the future. Grain School in the Field will be in Pueblo County, November 13th and 14th, with some hands-on and focus on corn. So I'm just really happy to introduce Andy Clark and the Colorado Grain Chain. And I want to make sure that we all know that bringing these forums and Grain School together is a collaboration. It would never be possible without collaboration. And so I want to honor Kim Wurst here as our lead in bringing this third public forum together in collaboration with the Colorado Grain Chain, and then highlight Andy Clark as the current president of the Colorado Grain Chain. Thank you very much, Colorado Grain Chain, for being so involved. I know it's been very hard for everyone to just think Grain School, Grain School, Grain School. When does it end? April 22nd. And then we can get to the other work. So Andy, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Nanna, and immense gratitude and appreciation to Nanna Meyer, the kind of godmother of this whole movement that we're a part of. And the Colorado Grain Chain was born out of Grain School in 2019 as a sort of cooperative idea that Nanna and Dan Hobbs and Eric Skokin and Mona Esposito and a bunch of us had during what I like to call the wheat stock, the Woodstock of wheat down in the Springs. Grain School has been a transformative agent and a community builder for many of us. I know, Don Guerrera has been there in past years. I've taught there over the years. We've been able to bear witness to some amazing presentations, and more importantly, community and collaboration. So it was all started with Nanna's guidance in her classrooms and in her forums in Colorado Springs, where she assembled a very unique roster of passionate individuals from around the world to connect in a group and in laboratory settings and hands-on demonstrations and classes and lectures. And we have all walked away from that a strong network that is in regular communication across the country to do things like planting, heritage and heirloom wheat in your community, whether that's Maine or California or Colorado or Rome or Paris, France. We have birthed 3 flour mills this year, all in Boulder County. We have carried the legacy of some farmers that have been doing some strong work for many, many years. Chris Gosser, Farmer John Ellis, Bryson Demetrius Stevens. We have onboarded dozens of new farmers that have explored local regenerative farming practices using these ancient and heirloom sacred grains and getting them to their communities. I don't want to take up too much time here because we've got a packed agenda, but I live in Boulder County. I live in Louisville, Colorado, and the recent events, the shooting a couple weeks ago has really had a profound impact on our community. And I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge this. On our screen is a beautiful batik made by our friend Eric Morana in Boulder. We're going to be making these into stickers and selling them with proceeds benefiting the victims' families. But I want to take a moment to, thoughts and prayers are funny things, right? I want to pray and think about the potential of a nonviolent future for our children. That they can go to schools and churches and mosques and shopping centers without the fear of something like this happening to them. So this goes out today, is dedicated to these 10 people whose souls are now out there in the greater world. And those people are Danny Strong, Nevin Stanisic, Ricky Olds, Trelona Bartkowiak, Terry Leiker, Suzanne Fountain, Kevin Mahoney, Lynn Murray, Jody Waters, and our police officer, Eric Talley. So we'll just take a moment of silence. Okay. So I just hope and am planning on personally working myself on finding positive, productive ways towards a safer future for all of us here in America and beyond. So I'm going to pass it back to Nanna to introduce Liz and Aubrey, our keynote speakers. Thank you.